Telkom reported that its half-year headline earnings jumped by 46.7%, boosted by lower depreciation charges and growth in its core profit rather. The telecoms operator is in exclusive negotiations with a preferred bidder on the possible sale of its masts and towers business, which is called Swiftnet. So in a short bit, we'll be in conversation with Serame Taukobong, who is the CEO of Telkom. But just looking at the share price move since that company released its earnings, opening trade, we saw the share price up 3%. It's around lunchtime, and we've seen an 8% move in a positive way when it comes to the numbers that have been delivered. But when we narrow down in terms of the revenue numbers here, we're seeing revenue up 2.5%, and that was driven by the greater mobile traffic, which they are seeing, the rollout of fiber, as well as the growing IT business. However, quite interestingly, they do make note is that despite the economic climate and the fact that they are seeing high inflation and pressure on consumers, their guidance for 2024 is still intact. However, joining us now on the line is Serame Taukobong. Serame, thank you so much for your time. In this tough trading and environment, of course, where we are seeing a lot of your peers talking about how consumers are pressed and a lot of the dynamics that are at play, take me through the half year that was for Telkom.
Thank you so much, and good evening to you and your viewers. It's been a challenging environment, but I think we have seen positive growth from Telkom perspective. I think our data-led strategy has really showed us good, fruitful results. If we look at just the share of data users in our mobile business, and especially the growth of fiber, where we are showing very high connectivity rates in our fiber business, that's also quite positive. So I think leading that perspective of data, where we're seeing over 89% of our subscribers being on either 4G or 5G, that is positive in the regards of Telkom's data strategy.
You're reorganizing yourself as an Infra Co, so to speak. For the viewers who may have missed that part, the rationale for that decision and when you believe that process will be in full effect.
So we're seeing so if you look at what sits in the Telkom ecosystem, we've got 170,000 kilometers of fiber. So quite an extensive fiber growth. We've got 10 data centers, of which 3 are what we call Cat4 data centers. So if you look at what the demand of digital data growth is in South Africa, it really relies on these infrastructure type entities, which we as Telkom have realized as our assets. So that's why the drive of the Infra Co perspective.
Load shedding has been a key theme for a lot of your peers who've come onto the show to discuss their numbers. What does the network uptime look like over the past quarter, given the kind of shifts we've seen in the stages of load shedding?
I think what's key for us is if you look at what the investment has been in OpenServe, we've reported in OpenServe that at least over 99% uptime in our key infrastructure. And on the mobile side, we are sitting at about 88% uptime at the worst stages of load shedding. So it has been quite significant in terms of the costs related to it. I mean, diesel costs, close to 200 million costs in diesel. But we've made significant investments in batteries, lithium batteries, to make sure that we get to those right network uptimes.
Let's talk about BCX. I mean, we're seeing some pressures in that side of the business, but when you focus in on the impairments, or suppose call it even the health of your public sector clients, how selective are you when it comes to taking on new contracts?
I think the BCX team is quite stringent in terms of how they approach. I think that the biggest issue is it's not really that clients don't pay. They do pay on time. So BCX does focus on making sure that the quality and the quantity of the clients that we have are right.
Right. I want to talk to you about, how you're thinking about growth going forward, because you've been the subject of investor attention, at least over the past year. How are you and the rest of the board thinking about M&A, for instance, or the next level of growth as you sit around the table?
I think the South African market, like any other market globally, consolidation is ripe. We've seen in UK, in the rest of the continent, consolidation of industries. And I think it is really about for us to make sure that we have the right partner at the right price and at the right proposition for our shareholders.
You've asked for a delay when it comes to the next spectrum auction. What happens if ICASA should deny that request? Does it have a material impact on Telkom?
Absolutely not. I think the delay is really about affordability. I mean, if you look at what the industry has paid for, 15.4 billion spent on spectrum, which we are still to utilize. Telkom, fortunately, utilize a spectrum ahead of time because that's the spectrum we got during COVID. So it really is, can the market afford another 10 billion odd auction price? No.
Before I let you go, just quickly, what are you and the team working on for the next 6 months?
I think for us, it's about really strengthening the fact that we are Infra Co and making sure that we drive the digitization of the country. Thank you.
Serame, thank you so much for your time. That is Serame Taukobong, who is the CEO of Telkom. And as I mentioned, that share price up 8% after it moved 3.5% in opening trade. That is it from me. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have more news for you, so stay tuned.